Parshas Balak, Tafshin Pei. Let's go right away in the Psukim. Vayosef oid Balak shloyach sarim rabim v'nichbadim me'ele. Balak was fearful of the Bnei Yisrael. He saw them. The Zohar explains that he saw how the Bnei Yisrael won the war against Sichon and Og. In other words, he saw it like a movie. Because he wasn't there. So how did he know? The Zohar said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed him because he was a sorcerer, not a sorcerer, it's a witchcraft to him. He was a witchcrafter. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed him with what, how easily they beat Sichon and Og. And this is what created a fear, apparently, into Balak. So Balak sends messengers to Bilam. And with an offer in the hands of lots of money and lots of honors, if Bilam would come and curse the Bnei Yisrael. Bilam, interestingly, informs them that he has to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu if he's allowed to go. Does he ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he goes with his donkey? No. But this he has to ask. Very, very interesting person. We're going to come in it. Then, after a few times, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will agree. Though there's a tremendous question coming up here, I'm not, we can read the pasuk. I'm not going to ask question exactly on the pasuk. Vayavoya Bilam, they came to Bilam, vayamruloi, koyama Balak. This is what Balak say, Balak ben Tzipor. Anna simana mehaloi chelai. Don't refrain from coming to me. Ki chabe, these words are very important. Ki chabe dachabetcha. I will honor you, me'oid. Well, I know what kabed means, to honor. Kabed akabedcha, I can assume that you have the honor of a successful CEO and then you have the honor of a king. But ki chabed akabedcha me'oid, I'm not sure what it means. V'chol asher toima elai e'eseh. Now, I don't come with a limited offer. I'll let you dictate the offer. How much money you want. Ulchana, and please come and kavali esamaze, just curse them. And Bilam, like a tzaddik, says, "Vayomer elavdei Balak, imitenli Balak. Even if Balak gives me his house full of gold and silver, I cannot cross the mouth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu." He's talking like a tzaddik, this guy. This is amazing. And these questions are going to be in the English world, actually. Because it's always the presentation of the shir that I use for the English world. We have a guy that's Balak. So I'm going back to the beginning, just trying to understand one point here. Balak fears the Bnei Yisrael would attack him. Really, Balak. When Bilam comes on the third place where he stands and he says, "Ma toivu oyhalecha Yaakov," what does he say? They sit calmly. There is no movement for any conflict. They're not getting ready to anything. Why are you fearful? Were you sending to Bilam? Oh, you hate them? Maybe. You sending for Bilam to go curse them because you want to attack them. Not they're going to attack you. Oh, no. Because in the Yalkut Shimoni and the Midrash Rabbah, it says that Balak saw that Ruth will come out of him. The Gemara comes with, we'll see the Gemara go a bit deeper after that in it, but I just want to set up. It's a little bit complicated because today, just because of the number of details, we're going to go in psychology according to the Said. Wow, this is a new one. So Balak sees that Malchus-based David will come through him. Oh, I know the story afterwards. David will decimate Moab. Are you scared of David HaMelech? In that case, Balak, I have a suggestion for you, which is much cheaper than bringing Bilam. Don't have children, or don't let your children intermarry with Bnei Yisrael, or just abort. That's it, an abortion. Goyim have no problem with abortion, so just do abortions. And you're not going to have that problem. Why do you take it onto the Bnei Yisrael? What's your motivation? No matter which way I'm looking at it, there's no motivation, valid motivation. Though Balak is willing to pay a huge price for this. What's holding him in the kishka? What forces him to act like this? I'm going to Bilam. Because you see, these two guys have something in common. They have the first two letters exactly the same. Base Lamed. You know what a base Lamed are? This is the first letter of the Torah and the last letter of the Torah. What's the remez here? What's the message for us here? But this Bilam, who's such a crook, that's what we call him a Rasha, terrible person. The Ari HaKadosh will reveal in Shara Psukim that the shoresh of the neshama of Bilam was much higher than the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? So at the end of time, nations can complain that they say they didn't have someone like Moshe Rabbeinu to give the Torah. You know what the Psiksa say, the Midrash says, that before HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah to Bnei Yisrael, he gave it to Bilam. And he got very angry and he started doing terrible things. Not going to mention here. All this for the nations not to have a possible complaint unto HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say that was unjust. You know, the balance was tipped. So Bilam has no problem killing people with sorcery, you know, doing all kind of things. Go with this animal, you know. No problem. But when it comes to go to listen to Balak, all of a sudden he's a little tzaddik. You know what? I don't know if I can. I need to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu if he allows me to go. I can't do nothing. Everybody knows you're a pig. And worse than a pig. So what are you trying to prove here? It's not normal, his reaction. These people are driven by COVID and seeking money. These are the two motivations they have. So why did he hide behind that fact. He was not playing with Balak into what is called this? It's called 17. He was not trying to negotiate a better outcome for his services. No, because even on the last time when Balak gave in and say, you define the price, no, he went to ask Hashem. How can you have such a person going from the one extreme of the world to the other extreme? It's not logical. What is not working correctly in his mind or in Balak's mind? What is the problem there that basically triggered such contradictory reaction? Balak, all your life you've been after money and after honor. You have them right now. You went to Paroi. You tried your sorcery to block the Bnei Yisrael from going out of Mitzrayim. When you saw they going out, you ran away. You went to Midian. Moshe Rabbeinu was there. You run away again. Now you are in Midian. And you come for the Bnei Yisrael, and now you go to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All your life you've been trying to kill them. You are bigger, the Zohar is revealing you're a bigger hater than Balak. So why this reaction? There's a huge side here. Huge. But if I would tell you right now, you say, nah, it's illogical. So let's build it. Let's see how proven it is. Mar says in Baba Basra, Moshe wrote his Sefer and the Parsha of Bilam. Because you can ask yourself a question. Nobody knew of the Bnei Yisrael or Moshe Rabbeinu what was happening behind the scene. They didn't know anything about it. So who wrote that Parsha? Who told them? Now, if you want to tell me that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wrote it, then Moshe received it in Har Sinai. In that case, they knew about it ahead of time. How does he work? Because we received the Torah on Har Sinai. Telling me that we receive an incomplete Torah, it's impossible. Telling me, on the other hand, that it was written afterward, it's impossible. So, where, when, and where was it written? If you look at the passage, "B'chosafti ala luchos," after Moshe was called to receive the second luchos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him he's going to write the same thing that was in the first luchos. That's all. There's no more and no less in the Torah. Nobody can add. How can Rashi say that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote the Parsha of Bilam? The Haftarah this week is out of this world. I almost wanted to give a share on the Haftarah and not on the Parsha. But there's so much in this Parsha, so much. The Pasuk says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts the Bnei Yisrael to the test. What beautiful words are in this Haftarah. It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. It comes from Micha. What words HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells the Bnei Yisrael to prove his love of them? He says, my people, please remember the Eitzah of Balak and what Bilam answered him. That's a proof. Only HaKadosh Baruch Hu was working behind the scene. Nobody knew anything. Are you going to tell me there's no novelty into here? Now, you know why? Because we say in the Haggadah, the Maggid says, "Vehi she'amda l'avoseinu ve'lanu sheloi echad bilvad omad aleinu lechaloseinu." It's every generation there's one stand, a goy that wants to annihilate Chas v'Shalom. Not going to say what, but and we have a halacha, Esav Seine Yaakov. So, okay, if you want to take it from that side, then don't write the whole parsha. So, what's the point, Moshe, writing it for what? So, and what's the point that Hakadosh Baruch Hu uses dafka this nes to prove his love to Bnei Yisrael? Automatically, you see that it was beyond that. Even more than this was in this nes, as we're going to see. It's not so pashut. The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, on this pasuk that I brought from Micha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so that's the way he touches the pasuk. Look how many tzedakos I've done with you. I didn't get angry in those days, as it says in the pasuk. The strength, what Bilam was strong about was the fact that he could zero in the moment HaKadosh Baruch Hu was getting angry, and from there expand the Midas Adin and destroy people. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Gemara says, Ilu, if I had gotten angry on those days, it would have been your end. Different aspect. We see here that there's a, on every generation, there's no a Bilam per se. There's a hater. There are enemies, but not to that level. So we see there is a purpose. Just here with this Gemara, there's a purpose. I'm going to point out another one. How many korbanos did Bilam tell Balak to offer? 42. Why did he tell him 43? And why not 41? Why 42? He was using the Shem Mem base, the name of 42, but instead of the Gdusha, so Ana Bechoyach, on the initials, 42 letters, that's in the Gdusha. And there's no such a thing that in the Gdusha that the Shem Mem base, and the Sitra Achra has no Shem Mem base. They have a Shem Mem base. And he was going to use the biggest strength in order to uproot Chaz v'Shalom, the Bnei Yisrael. But Bilam, what do you want from them? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you the Torah first, before you even gave him to them. So why do you jealous them? In what level do they bother you? What's this pure hatred? Based on something dumb, or based on nothing? And the last question I have on Rashi is, we know we have 53 parshas in the Torah. 53 being the gematria of Gan. Gan Eden. We know the Eden is the Bina, Gan is the Malchus. So Gan is 53. We know that the Shem of the Malchus Ben only has 9 letters during this time until Mashiach. He will have another Aleph between the vowels. So we know that 52 shows that it's incomplete. You want to tell me the Torah was given from Har Sinai with 52 parashas and not 53? Would it make sense that we receive an incomplete Torah and Moshe would complete it versus the Torah of Hashem? Because now you have excuses. Not sure it's from there. Look, Moshe Rabbeinu added. Who knows who added afterward or whatever? No, the Torah is exactly as HaKadosh Baruch Hu wrote it. What sense does he make? Well, let's keep a few questions here to go even deeper, but I think I'm going to catch it from the side because time's passing. There's a tremendous Midrash Rabbah on here. And he just recounts what happened between, in this whole Maaseh between with Balak and Bilam. So Balak took Bilam and brought him to first place called Bamois Baal, the steps of the Baal. Okay, that's the name of the place. Didn't work. He took him to Sdei Soifim, and so forth. The Midrash deducts from here that, and actually it says like this in Daria Kodesh, and it's brought down also in the Zohar, that Balak was stronger than Bilam on one side and weaker on the other. In other words, Balak could foresee in the future much better than Bilam. Interesting. And therefore, he knew the places where Bnei Yisrael are going to sin. And from there, they wanted to wake up the Midas Adin, even though it didn't happen yet. But they had a plan, and a very strong plan. When the pasuk says that Balak took Bilam, the pasuk says Vayikach. He grabbed. Like Kicha is marrying. I mean, the woman is not free anymore. She is, belonging to that Baal. Vayikachehu after that. You can see that it's repetitive. It's not just a one-time tough language. No, it's repetitive. How is it possible? Why do you want to tell me that that Balak, that Balak forced Bilam? Bilam didn't want to go, didn't understand. How is it possible? It's not possible. Sorry. So why repeating that language? Now it says via. It's not only on that word via alehu. When you take someone on your back and you climb the mountain with him, that's called you are bringing him up. He doesn't say vayalu, they went up. He doesn't say here vayelchu, they went. It says vayalehu. Basically, he carried him. How is it possible? What is the pasuk teaching us? I want to show you something because we're going to start diving, and I want you to hold the rail at least. So we have that word vaya alehu. that's not in its place. We have equals 128 equals twice din. Din down below and din up there. They wanted to wake up, as I mentioned before, the din. Vayalehu. So Balak is the one who initiates and what Bilam, he needed Bilam to do is to bring it over to the Bnei Yisrael. His name is Balak ben Tzipor. In other words, yes, he was using a tzipor. We in the previous years we explained how he was doing kishuf and so forth. But his power was only tzipor. He knew that the Bnei Yisrael have a protection from the Bina, which is done on a kavod. The Bina is called a nesher, an eagle. What can a bird do against an eagle? Just one thing, run away. And therefore, Balak was limited in his powers in order to start with the Bnei Yisrael. However, Bilam could have done it. And we'll see, if I can take it, but and now you're going to see that exactly what I'm telling you is the next words in the pasuk. It says, Bamois Baal equals 550 equals a nesher equals kanfei yashchina. Because the Shekhinah only opens her wings when they're together. So in other words, I have a different picture now. Bilam says to Balak, no, I'm not going there. That's a tough place, my friend. So Bilam has to drag him, force him to come there. Says, you can do it. I'll do my share. I'll be Me'or the din. And all you have to take is throw it there. And automatically, there's a cloud. There's a cloud that this pasuk is in Parshas Kiseitze, I think. Velo yire bechar ervas davar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should not see in someone's house, property, himself, inside him, ervas davar, something that is improper. Why? Veshav me'acharecha. He will leave. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu leaves, Isaiah says, who takes his place is the Sitra Achra. So Balak had the plan because he had the worst individual, the psycho, of Bilam, that was so tummy that if he was just able to project something from his mouth out onto the Bnei Yisrael, there's such a tumor, level of tumor, that there's no need to fight the Bina. The Bina will live on its own. That was his plan. Now look at this word. Vayalehu. Va is just the continuation. It's the Vav HaChibur. So I'm not taking it. You have a Yud, you have Al, you have Hey Vav. What is he trying to do here? He's trying to say, basically, the pasuk reveals through interesting words his kavana. Shimshon Mostropoli says on this pasuk, I'm going to give you it's a bit difficult pasuk, but you're going to remember this pasuk better. In Shmois, when Paro says, Ki Hashem Ki Hashem Hatzadik Va'ani Ve'ami Hareshaim. So look at the last letters. Yud, Hey, you'll understand what Paro is telling Moshe Rabbeinu. You think Paro is making amend? I have the pasuk wrong because I have the
That's the
pasuk
right
wrong
pasuk,
here.
Rabbi.
Do
It's
you
the
have
right
the pasuk,
pasuk.
Menachem? Can you search a pasuk?
You have the right one. It's the Yud from Hashem, the Hey from Hatzadik, the Vav from Ve'ami.
Okay. I have it. Okay. Thank you, Menachem. By the way, the vote you told me yesterday, I gave it in my share and it is for all today. On your name. Okay, guys, just bear with me a second. It's the Rashi Teres. I was not prepared for that pasuk. I wanted to give you another pasuk of Shimshon says, but I think this pasuk is a lot simpler. So forget about this. Black. Look what we have here. Look at the game of Paro. Paro is making at 9. At this condition, I will make up. The Yud Hey Tzadik HaKadosh Baruch Hu remains in the skies by Vav Vav Va'ani. But my condition is me and before Vav Hey. Meaning there's no more here Schara and Oynesh. He wants to remove Kutsa Berichu and Shchinte from the world. He doesn't want to have a Yud Ke Vav Ke. No, I don't accept the Yud Ke Vav Ke. I accept only Yud Hey. And then Va'ani, it's me, I do what I want in this world. Can be punished. This is the way of the Reshaim. But the Reshaim of Balak and Bilam, they wanted to go, well, Balak wanted exactly that. But Bilam wanted even more. He wanted to put himself right here, between the Yud and the Hey. We don't need the Hey. The Bina, don't need it. Just leave HaKadosh Baruch Hu as a Keser, go back up, stay in the Pedeak, for those who remember, and that's it. In the rest of the world, leave me. I have the powers to conduct. That was the rishus of Bilam. And the proof is Al equals Sam. The koyach of who he wanted to have in the world, he wanted to have the Eved and the Shivcha, the two snakes. Okay? The proof to this is he brought him Bamois Baal. I was writing so fast on this, I forgot the gematria of Bamois now. Forget it. If you write Baal in full, you have base, Ayin, Lamed equals 616 equals all the name of the Bina, Kasa, Kamag, Kan. Exactly. There, the pasuk has used strange languages in order to reveal through this what was the intention of Balak and Bilam. Now, the Midrash adds that Bilam tells Balak, build me here, right here, 7 mizbechos. If you pay attention, this is going to be the only time where mizbechos have no vav. Okay, we'll see after that. The Midrash is asking why 7 mizbechos Dafka he wanted, he said, Keneged, all the 7 Mizbechos that were built since the world was created. Adam created one. Hevel created one. We know in the Pasuk. Noach, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Moshe. The intention of Bilam was, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why do you want to be served by only one nation? You can be served by 70 nations. We want to serve you. Well, we have a condition, but we want to serve you. And the fact is, look at me. I'm doing as many mizbechos as were done for you since the world was created until that time. And I'm better than Avram. Why? Avram created one mizbeach and he only brought one ayil on the mizbeach. But me, I'm bringing par for ayil. Guy's brazen. The guy has no shame. I mean, always remember when I say those things, in the background, this is a cycle. You know what? We know what he was doing, right? And that's the part I'm going to speak. I'm not going to speak further than this about his sickness. When I'm telling you, even a garbage you can call him, it's disgusting. Coming from a level in the Chochma Elyoina and go down to the end of the world, it's impossible. Moshe Rabbeinu started with the Das. You above him from the Bina and the Chochma. And this is what you do with your life? And this is how you behave with animals? Are you nuts? Don't you know that you're going to meet your fate? And now, brazenly, you go before HaKadosh Baruch Hu and you say, you know what? I'm better than even the Avos HaKadoshim. So now, you basically, why do I want to point? Because this is, I think, one of the biggest messages we have in this portion of the parsha, the chutzpah. What is that midah and what is that midah doing to a person? Where is it coming? What it leads to? The chutzpah is, I forgot how they call this, bunker buster bomb. This even bigger. This bombs the whole mountain and turn it into dust. There's nothing left from that person. The Midrash says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, no, I'd rather have dry bread and water than having you korbanos. What is he trying to do? I mean, does he really think? I mean, he knew Das Elyon. He never says on Moshe Rabbeinu that he knew Das Elyon. But what is he trying? I mean, how is he not understanding that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees through? He knows his thoughts. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could have told him, why do you want to bring parva ayil on the Mizbeach? Because he got equal 328, equal choshech. You want to remove the oir of the Bnei Yisrael, and you want to put on them choshech, obscurity, like in Mitzrayim, like you can, like Paro was able to dispose of them, you can also dispose of them. The Zohar adds a different level of understanding here, because that's going to open up the understanding of this psycho mind so he's going to say, like the Midrash, he wanted to compete with the 7 Mizbechos that were done from the creation to the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. But it was not the main reason. The main reason is that the Bnei Yisrael are attached to the Eitz HaChaim. And this Eitz HaChaim has 7 midos that manage this world. And with these 7 mizbechos, the intention of Bilam, we'll see how, was to counter the power of the 7 midos. He's not fighting the Bnei Yisrael. He's fighting up there. And the Zohar keeps on. Why did he use that kind of way in order to try to fight the Bnei Yisrael? Because he said he tried normally with his kishuf and he saw that it doesn't take. It doesn't take. And therefore, he realized that there's no point of doing sorcery against the Bnei Yisrael. Doesn't work. So he decided to do a shoichad to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to give him a korban. He will have to accept it, thinking like the Satan is accepting the korban. Also, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, what do you want by me? Your korban, I'm throwing it to the dogs. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is hinting here. Do you think I didn't understand what you want? You want to bring choshech, chamoyer, shoyer, keler on my children. Your korbanos are going to the dogs. You want to bring it to the dogs? I'm sending you to the dogs. Interestingly, the last 4 letters of Balak has 3, so you have to reuse the Lamed, is Amalek. In their name is revealed what they wanted to do with the Bnei Yisrael. Who's the other one that wanted to do this? Is Lavan. He wanted to harm Yaakov Avinu. And Lavan being, so depending on the Mikubalim, some say he was the father of Bilam. Some say, so he lived very long. Some say he was the grandfather of Bilam. And still he had to live long for this. But they're very, very, very interesting. And the Midrashim here are I really have to force myself. I have a cramp in the mind right now, not to tell you things on the side, because I want to be focused on one message only. But if you would know what the Midrashim say, Hakam Balak, Bilam was born because of Yaakov, because Lavan had no children, and so forth. It doesn't matter. I want to bring what they've used in order to arrive to achieve their goals. In the Shah Melech, the Naftali Hirsch, the Talmud of the Ari HaKodesh says, Chamer is Ishmael. Right? That's the Koach of Ishmael. But you know what? Since Ishmael cheated with his mother-in-law, and he also used to go with men, okay? He came back in Gilgul in the donkey of Bilam. This Asain was the Gilgul of Ishmael, and thereafter she was killed, and thereafter he went back into the Gilgul of in the male Chamor by the Chamor of Rab Pinchas ben Yair, And since we know that Pinchas ben Yair was a Nitzos of Abraham Avinu, says the Emek HaMelech, Abraham Avinu came down in order to be Mesaken, his son Yishmael. And after that, I'm not going to the Gilgulim, how he ended up. But the Asain, when you see the shmutz these people have done, and why, because you're going to say, oh, the poor animal. No, the poor animal is Ishmael. He has done that shmutz, he's getting the shmutz. So this Asain is the power of the female Nachash, the Malachamavas. So just to give crystallize a little bit where we're standing right now before I move a little bit deeper, we have here these Mizbechos. So I'm going to take what I've without a vav, it's written like this, equals 457 equals Asain. In other words, everything I told you in front of your eyes, all he wanted to do is to bring the other side to lead this world. He wanted to bring the shmutz of this Asain onto the Bnei Yisrael, so the Bina and the Malchus would have to leave, and the Tumah the Sitra Achara will take over. Now, it's also the gematria of Derech Etz HaChaim. Just to show you that exactly what we have said, the Torah is hinting us in one little change in the orthograph of a word. He wanted to remove exactly the words of the Zohar. He knew what he was doing, but the question is, how dumb was he in order not to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will see through? If that's in his intention, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will see through. So what do you do it? It's mind-boggling, the answer. Mind-boggling. But you're going to see how much the chutzpah takes someone out of this world. Well, I'll keep on. Now we have Shiva Mizbechos, written exactly like this, right? This equals to 834, equal to Shemen Zayis Zach. If you remember the Shir on Baal Ischa, what is the Shemen Zayis Zach? Keshemen ala roish yored al skan aron sheyored al pimidoisav. I know I trumped the pasuk, but basically the shemen is the shefa coming from the chokhmah and from above, from Arichanpin, which is in the Keser, and he receives it from Atik Yoimin, which is receiving it from the Ein Sof. And now you have the shemen coming down, and he knows as long as this shefa comes up from the Yud-Kei into the Bnei Yisrael, there's nothing he can do. He had to stop it. And therefore, he wanted to create, I want to say, a deadland or between the Yud-Kei and the Vav-Kei, as we saw like Paro did. That's why the Bnei Yisrael could not come out, because with his kishuf, Bilam had trapped the Shekhinah. But here he wanted to entrap also HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because, yes, I hate the Bnei Yisrael and everything, but if I keep HaKadosh Baruch Hu around, then I will be punished for my behavior. And he didn't want. He wanted to keep with his shmutz. So therefore, he had this time, he went over. This equals 3 times Oyer Haganus. Just to show you, that's the Shefa. He's all about the Oyer. And an Ekavit from the Haganus, Oyer Haganus. Why 3 times? That's why he did 3 times 7 Mizbechos. 3 times 7, 21. Keye. Okay? You know, it's the Bina, and it's the Bina, the Nesher, that spread their wings, and the Bilam and the light can do nothing at that point. Okay, I'm going to lead you now a little bit, start giving you the answers, because it's a deep answer. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Omar Rab Nachman. Rab Nachman says, Chutzpah afilu klape shmaya mehane. Chutzpah, when you have chutzpah, it works. You get your way. And even with Shamayim. Wow, what a statement. And the proof is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told on the first time to Bilam, don't go with them. The second, don't go with them. The third time, go with them. When someone has chutzpah, a person, the Gemara says, Omer Rab Sheshes, chutzpah malchusa belo isagahi. What is chutzpah? Chutzpah can raise you to a level of a king, but without a crown. In other words, you're not deserving to be a king. You're not a son of a. You're not an aristocrat. You are nothing. You're just a mechutzav. But a mechutzav gets his way. In this world, in klapishmai, he can force things. It doesn't mean he's not going to pay. But for a moment, all the people around him that have Yiras Shamayim, their arms will fall, their shoulders will bend. How is it possible, such a cycle like this, doing the chatoim he does, is having such a success? Chutzpah. I told the Shabbos a word, and I believe I say it more and more, and I see how it's accepted, Baruch Hashem. I said it quite a few times. And I want you to understand where it comes from and why. Where do we go here? So for those who were not there Shabbos, you'll understand. For the others, it's a chazara, but it's huge. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the person, or I should rephrase, Chava foresaw the future and realized that it's better for the person to be in our world rather than to be on the Olam HaYetzirah, an upper world, and so forth. I'm not going to go further than this on this. Though, so what is a person created with? He has a guf. Inside the guf, there's a nefesh. Inside the nefesh, there's a ruach. Inside the ruach, there's a neshama. And they walk into the other. When someone does a chet, the neshama moves out a little bit, if it's not too terrible. But if it's terrible, he moves out. The ruach say, hey, I'm not staying alone without because the neshama is connected to the shechina all the time. Only one part of the neshama comes in the person. The rest is outside as a god and connected to the shechina. So when he sees the shechina living, it leaves. The ruach says, I cannot live without the oil of the neshama. He leaves. The nefesh says, what am I doing here? I can't, I have no oil anymore. I'm choshech. He leaves. And then comes a series of ruach nefesh from the sitra achra. So this guf is the ultimate kli. And whatever it's going to do will define what will happen with the inner components. Now you have, guf is written with a gimel, it's written with a vav, and it's written with a. This refers to the first three midas. Okay, for those who are not used to the shir, Keser, Chachma, Bina. The Yud K, because on the Yud there's a tag which is Keser, Yud is Chachma, Hey is Bina. The Yud K is separated, is above. So it's the first three midas, or I should write Kachav. Keser, Chachma, Bina. Vav is Kutsha Berichu, the six next midas. Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hoid, Yesod. The six midos, which are called Kutsha Berichu, Za, Zer, Anpin. We're going to call him Za. Zer, Anpin, the small face, because you have Arich Anpin, the long face, and this, which comprehends all the other nine midas, is Pe, the mouth. The mouth can be what raises a person to the sky or takes him down to the lowest level. When someone has chutzpah, how do you write chutzpah? You write chutz, pe. Chutz, pe. Using basically the koyach of the 10 midos in order to sell or to force an outcome the wrong way, with the wrong reasons, with the wrong everything. You basically destroying yourself completely. It's not any different than having Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara destroys all the 10 midos because it says Lashon Hara. Okay, it's more stringent, but the effort, so chutzpah will have an easier tshuva than the mitzvah. For chutzpah, we don't send michutz lamachne, but here we do. It destroys his whole being of kedusha and is becoming a part of the Sitra Achra. Looking at this, the Gemara in Bracha says, it's so important that Nes, that it should, the truth is, the Torah wanted to put it in Krishma. If it was not for Tichra de Tzibura, that we should have read the whole Parsha of Bilam every time we say Krishma. So the Gemara is trying to see if it's because of Mitzrayim is mentioned. No. It's because of the Nes. You see the value of it. You see that huge things have happened. If it was not for Tircha de Tzibura, then we would have had to say it in Krishma. At the moment we mekabel ol malchus shamayim. Now, just referring to Rashi at the beginning, just to think, how can you say it was not written in the Torah? The Parsha of Krishma, nobody asked questions, right? It was written in the Torah, despite being written later in the Torah. But you're telling me that the Parsha of Bilam, that is worthy of being written in the Torah, Moshe wrote it, and now that we started tasting a little bit the quality of the nes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made, and especially when he emphasized it in the Haftarah, I don't have time to go in that pasuk of the Haftarah, but there's so many soides in there. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he doesn't prove himself to the Bnei Yisrael, not with Mitzrayim, not with any other nes, only with this one. To show how flagrant it is that how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us just by this nes. I'm going to give you an answer on Rashi because I don't want to forget. I don't want to leave it still hanging, that question. So we can finish on the chutzpah. Everything was definitely written by HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Torah. However, there is a machlokes in halacha who created the stops. You know, we on Mondays and Thursday we only read the first part of the next parsha and we stop. We for Kohen, for Levi, for Israel. Who created this stop? So some say it's Moshe Rabbeinu, and some say it's Ezra, which is the same neshama, by the way. And the Gemara says, now we understand that every parsha that Moshe, it says Pascha. Pascha really can mean stop, but it could mean something else. The letters of every parsha were written in the Sefer Torah. We didn't know how to read them. Because ask yourself, if everything was written about the Meraglim, we should have known. About Korach, we should have known. And so forth. No, all the letters were written in full continuation. It's Moshe Rabbeinu aftermath that separated the letters, understood what happened, and separated the letters of the Torah. That's how the Machzis HaShekel Paskins in Siman Resh Mem Beis in Orach Chaim. So we can see that on one hand, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you know, let the Bechira, because it could have been the other way, says that Korach, had he come out good, had he listened to Moshe Rabbeinu, the same parsha with the same letters were able to be turned into good. I'm going to show you this now. That's exactly what I'm going to show you, that a tziruf, meaning a way of writing the letters, these letters can compose a different word. And Moshe Rabbeinu had Benevua, had to, what he was supposed to do and how he had to use them. The pasuk says, I'm going right into the answers now and explain you exactly the side of this chutzpah. I mean, I'll go much deeper on Shabbos, you know that, but for today, it's already went much deeper than usual for this year. So it says in the pasuk, Shlomo HaMelech said, I mean, how in the Torah we call chutzpah? It's metzach. Metzach isha zoina hayalach. You had the same forehead as a harlot. In other words, what is a harlot? Raise their head and look and entice people. When someone is brazen, he has azus chutzpah, we call this the metzach. This metzach is full of soidos. We spoke last week about it a bit, and I think Shabbos, this. Metzach, just to show you, it's the same letters as chametz, the other side. When someone has metzach, you know whose chametz is the Satan. That's why we don't eat chametz on Pesach. He couldn't do. He lost he lost the din Torah with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Equals 138. Equals the yichud of Yud Ke Vav Ke, the Chachma and the Bina, Ke Ye, equal, that's it, 47, and 91. Yud Ke Vav Ke Adas. This shows a complete, when Bnei Yisrael are at peace, it means Shamayim is at peace. It means there is, all the worlds are connected, and the flow of Shefa, the Shemen Zayis Zach, is flowing. Like when the Kohen is benching the Bnei Yisrael, what is he doing? is dragging the shemen from the, we said it in the shir already, the from all the way from the chachma and bringing down, which is the bracha, or bring it down all the way to the Bnei Yisrael. Now, I understand. Because the Metzach has, we know by Shalosh Shudas, when the Metzach of Ari Chanpin, a light comes out and go cleans the dinim from that exist down in the world. There's no more after Mincha. But if I take on the wrong side, Metzach attached it, chutzpah. Verify this number, please, Menachem. I don't know if I wrote it with a hey, with the aleph. Sometimes I don't remember. Equals 185. Equals the name Kel from Chesed in full. Aleph, Lamed. 185 times 2 equals 370. These are the 370 lights. Shin Ayin Nehirin Kadishin that comes from Arvichanpin. The 300, so you have on one side 185 and on one side 185. What was Bilam after? As we mentioned before, as we said it through the Zohar, he wanted to put them in Choshech, remove all the oil, remove all the Yichudim up there. He came, he knew that there was a Metzach of Gdusha, he wanted to stop it. He wanted to the Bnei Yisrael, is Metzach Isha Zoina. Who's the Isha Zoina? Who do we call the Isha Zoina? The lily. It's the Malach HaMaves. That's what he wanted to bring on the Bnei Yisrael. The proof is equals Ani ledoidi vedoidi li, which is said, okay, those are Shabbos, you know, the soid here, where we're going with the haze, so you understand a bit deeper, but this is what he wanted to uproot. The love between between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Bnei Yisrael. Leave them alone. Let them be. And then he wanted to finish them up. It's not. Now, there's another way to call it, and I mentioned it before. Azus. Because we have the Azus Dikdusha, and against it, we have the Azus of the Sitra Achra. Azus Dikdusha is Hashem oiz le'amo yiten. In order to do mitzvahs, sometimes you have to make violence to yourself and enhance yourself and to do the mitzvah. And on the other side is you going out of your way in order to make a Avera. This equals to 483. Equals Orla, but not in full, the Miluyami. If you take Ayin, Reish, Lamed, Hey, and only calculate the expansion of each letter. You get it? And we're going to add him also Nida. Well, I'm here. Let me show you a side here. You know what's inside? We have the Ola, right? We know 358 is Mashiach, 358 is Nachash. Only one of them can live at the time. It can't be a Nachash and Mashiach at the same time. When Mashiach comes, Nachash dies. When the Nachash is in power, there's no Mashiach. The whole world is comprehended in this. The inner of Allah equals 424. Equals Mashiach ben David. Same thing as with Nachash. Why is he not coming? Why can he not reveal himself? Because the Allah is in power. As long as we withdraw, we follow the Allah, there's no Mashiach. And you can say, be Mashiach now, and Mashiach now, and Mashiach now. But if you follow the path of the Allah and the midas of the Allah, there's no Mashiach in that. This one. Now, if you add it, 59 of the Nida to show you that this Allah is the koyach of the Malach HaMaves, of the Isha Zoina, of her, that wants to take the place of the Malchus, equals 483. She is a Nida, the Gemara says, she is everything. So now we have a different understanding that Bilam knew that he was a pig, okay? And more than that, he knew that he had no right to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu would never, if he was asking something, would never listen to him. He only had one path left in order to exceed and try to force what he wanted, the chutzpah. Because chutzpah is something like the Gemara says, Rav Nachman, chutzpah klape shmaya mehane. That chutzpah, even with shamayim, it works. You mean you can force them. And therefore, he used the chutzpah. I'm going to show you one more thing before I'm going to wrap it up. One last thing. Answer one question we asked before at the very beginning of the show. He says, Bnei li bazeh, build me here 7 mizbechos, vehachen li bazeh, and prepare me here. I want to show you how far the chutzpah goes. And you'll understand why it's a midah that needs to be banished completely, because again, these are part of the diburim, asurim, as we mentioned before, the peh. So the guf is no longer a kaddish. When a person keeps his mouth and watches what he says, and there's no diburim, asurim, there's no chutzpah, there's no azus coming out of his mouth, you know, this person, his guf is kaddish. And while he's kaddish, there's no defect can happen. And there's no bad midah that could be there. They run away. That's how the peh is healing the whole entire body. He told him, Bnei li bezeh equals 111 equals Aleph, Pele. Bilam had no limits. He went after the Kesser. He said, you, Balak, you want to go between the Yud and Vav? Hey, are you nuts? We're going my way. The only way to succeed here is to try to destroy the whole binyan of Kedusha as if it was possible. He lost his mind. This person became a behemoth. He lost his mind, going after the Aleph. Babies going would tell him, God is God. Don't touch. Vehachen li bezeh. This equals 135. Interestingly, we spoke about chametz. This is matzah, but I didn't want to give you that answer. Trust me. This equals, look at this answer, and I'm finishing on this. The yichud complete of the chokhmah and the bina. He went after the kachab. He went after the first 3 meters. The guy is a psycho, is a sick person, a shoite shebeshoitim, he had no mind, nothing. This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to take the Sitra Achra and put it instead of the Kedusha. Why? Because when a person has chutzpah to reach his goal, there is no limit. There's nothing that you can put in front of him to stop him. He is so used to have the chutzpah succeed and break walls, even with Shamayim, but at the end, you got to pay the bill, my friend. You've been eating in the restaurant. You got to come out and you got to pay the bill. And the bill is terrible. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. For the others on Shabbos, I think I want to talk much more about the chutzpah. I forgot to turn off the... Oh, stop recording.